Welcome to episode number 8 of the WWIM podcast. That's WWIM podcast, Women Who Inspire Me. Our guest today is Deana Solomonides, the beautiful, smart, fun, funny, talented special ed teacher. Deana, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So tell us about your life. Tell us what led you down the path and then eventually to our crossing.
Okay. I was born in Jersey.
Yeah.
When I was about 2, I moved to Long Island. That's where I grew up. Went to high school there. My history teacher in high school was big into Special Olympics. So
Okay.
he was always looking for volunteers. And so, you got bonus extra credit if you volunteered for Special Olympics. So I did. A friend of mine and I, we did it together. I got paired up with a buddy and I fell in love with special ed.
Wow.
From there, and the rest is history. That's just what I've done ever since.
Wow. So that early on you knew this is
Yeah,
what
I think I was
this is what I wanna be
16.
doing. And where'd you go to college?
I went to college at Tufts.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Nice. And you enjoyed it there?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Medford, right? Is that what it is?
Yep, Medford, Somerville. It's like half and half. Met my
And-
hubby there.
Oh, yes. Who is a doctor at UMass.
He is.
And at Tufts, did you do student teaching? Where was that?
I did not.
Oh, you
so
didn't? Oh.
I really wasn't 100% sure I wanted to teach. So I majored in child study, which was kind of like this general child development. And then people either went into teaching. You could get your teacher license there, but they didn't have special ed. And I don't think they do to this day.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't want to do gen ed. So I majored in child study. And then I worked for the Eunice Kennedy Shriver Center after I graduated doing research, like educational research.
Right.
And one of the places I ran experiments was at the New England Center. Back then it was called the New England Center for Autism.
The one on Route 9.
The one on
Yeah.
Route 9. Now it's called New England Center for Children.
And it was like 50 times bigger. And
It's huge. It's a pool. Yeah, it's huge. So I ran sessions there, and then I jumped ship and left the Shriver Center and started working for New England Center because I just wanted to get back to working with that population. And I got my master's there
Okay.
because Simmons College and New England Center have a deal.
Oh, nice.
I worked the Tuesday through Saturday shift. Saturdays were 8 to 8. But Simmons College the professors came to us. So if we had a day shift, they would do an evening class. If we had a night shift, they'd do a daytime
Wow.
class. I mean, they made it extremely easy. So I did my student teaching at New England Center.
Wow. Do the kids live there? 8 to 8.
So it depends. There's
Okay.
a residential section,
Okay.
and I worked in a house in Westboro. It was called Westboro 2.
Okay.
What
What happened to Westboro 1?
There was a Westboro
Oh, there
1.
was.
Yeah, but I worked at Westboro 2. And I believe it was on Lyman Street. I'm not 100% positive.
Okay.
It was a long time ago. And it was a staff intensive unit. So for every student there was one staff. So it was a 1-to-1
Wow.
ratio.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was a great learning
Yeah.
experience.
That's unheard of now. I'm a 1-to-1
It,
program.
it still exists. So as I was leaving there, they built a staff intensive unit building instead. So all the staff intensive houses shut down and all the kids went to this unit. It was more like clinical kind of look.
Yeah.
But but so I think the Westboro 2 house still exists, but it's just not staff intensive anymore.
Okay. And how long
Yeah.
were you there?
I was there for, I think, 3 years. And then I got a job at Springfield Public for a year. I was an autism specialist.
Okay.
So I went to a bunch of different schools and just tried to give advice.
Yeah.
And then
So you weren't a teacher. You were just like
Yeah, I was a
supervisor, like
consultant.
consultant.
Yeah, I was a
That's the word.
consultant.
Yeah.
But I worked for the schools. But
Okay.
they sent me to a bunch of schools
Yeah.
whenever there was a teacher who needed help.
Oh, okay.
I was kind of on call.
That was your unofficial title at WWIM too. I think you're used as a resource like that.
I don't know about that. But then I had my first baby, and then I stayed home for, I think, 12 years.
Wow.
Yep, I was mom. And then I decided to maybe go back. So I was a sub in the town of Berlin for a year. Then I was a paraprofessional for a year. And then I was a teacher.
Wow.
So I
in
slowly got back to it.
And then,
yeah, in Berlin.
In Berlin Public.
Berlin Public. I think that was probably like 2008, 2009, something like that. Yeah. And then I came to Westboro Public in 2015.
Okay.
Because the Berlin job I had was sometimes full-time, sometimes part-time, because the population there just changes.
Right.
It's a very, very small town. So my son was heading to college. I needed to start paying some tuition. So I jumped ship to a full-time job.
I heard college is expensive these days.
It's so expensive. And it's hard to get any financial aid. So, yeah. So I went full-time in Westboro. And then a few years later, we met.
Yes. So you were at the preschool when it was in Hastings.
Yes.
Right. How much of a contrast is there? Was there much? As just the setting?
Well, there was a big contrast because, so the preschool population in Westboro grew. So right when I came on, I can't remember if I was the 4th classroom, and now we have 8. So it just kept growing because some more apartments popped up and all of that. So, but also the program kind of changed philosophies. And so when I first got there were a bunch of sub-separate rooms where the kids with IEPs weren't with the community
for
peers.
Most of the day, yeah.
I had a classroom when I first started that in the morning we were all together, and in the afternoon the community peers went home, and then the kids with IEPs stayed.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but then now we're fully included all day, all the time, except once in a while we'll go a little room, do some more academics if we need to concentrate, and pop back into the classroom. So,
do you prefer half day or full day? Do you have a preference?
For me, or for the kids?
Oh, either.
Would I rather work part time?
Well, no. Meaning,
no, I know.
I get what you're saying.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm done paying for college. So I could go back to part time.
Yeah.
So last year I had a half day class, and this year I have a full day class.
I mean, there's pros to cons to both, right?
There's definitely pros and cons to both.
Yeah. Like life.
Exactly. It's a really long day for kids.
Yeah.
To do a full day, especially when we're the mixed ages. The 3-year-olds, it's really long.
Right.
We have kids who fall asleep almost every day. Yeah. Most of them don't fall asleep, but probably should.
I'm one of those kids.
Right? Me too. I wish I could. I'm good at napping. Yeah. I am. I don't know. I mean, my preference would be that the 3-year-olds would do half day and the 4-year-olds would do full day.
I did kindergarten half day. That doesn't exist anymore.
My kids did kindergarten half day.
But is that any? I don't.
Most towns now have full day.
Yeah. Just makes it easier, I guess, for transportation and stuff like that. Is that? I mean, who knows?
I don't know. I guess it's more time on learning. I don't know. They're still little though.
Yeah. I mean, they are, but I can see a difference between being in a preschool and just kindergarten. You know, because you don't have the 3-year-olds. It's all. They're all through preschool, but the intensive kids, you notice there are there, and that actually makes the contrast even that much greater when the other, the quote, I hate to say regular, but the regular kids are grown up and the, intense kids are still almost not, don't want to say where they were, but are obviously take longer to develop their skills and stuff like that.
But that's something we talk about is how do we describe the kids who don't have IEPs? Because this keeps coming up with different conversations.
Right.
Like, how do you say, like, I've been saying community peers lately, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, because normal isn't, no one's
normal. We used to say
normal?
typical, but then that's implying...
Right.
But really, if you look at it, like, what is typical?
Right, exactly.
Like, you and I are very different. Yeah. Which one of us is typical? I don't know. But, yeah, so, I don't know.
Non-IEP, like, I don't, like...
Right? Someone said maybe paying or non-paying, because if you have an IEP, you don't pay, and I don't know.
Did you hear that about Westboro in the budget? Like, there was... I don't know, Mark, would you say controversy or they're voting over should Westboro pay for kids that we don't have a program for and have to go out of the town? Their needs are so great we don't have a program for them. And some people are saying no, right? You were at the meeting.
I mean, there's always a small fraction of people
that'll say no.
That'll say no to anything.
No.
Right.
Yeah, and that normal thing did come up. Someone was advocating for it.
Yeah.
And she had actually been one of those students.
Oh, okay. Saying you should use the word normal or just...
And then she said, but the normal kids, so even someone that had been...
Right.
Yeah.
Not a normal kid was... So I don't know if average is the right word.
Yeah.
But it's a good question. Like, what do you call the average person without...
I mean, they're all just students, right?
Right.
At different levels of different...
Exactly.
Different levels of different, whether it's academic or social or behavioral, everyone, it's a huge spectrum for everyone in life.
A range.
Yeah. And some kids need a specific plan, like an individual plan.
Yes.
To get Now, in all the programs and all the populations you've worked at, do you have, like, if you could choose, do you like just the public school, preschool, or like, where would you say, I don't know, you feel most comfortable at, or?
Well, I've been doing the preschool the longest, so I'm definitely more comfortable
in the mode
there.
You're at, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I burn out. I've been thinking, well, should I do like the 18 to 22-year-old program? That might be like a huge change of pace and something new, but I don't know. I think I'll just end it with preschool.
I was gonna say, at this point the college is paid off, so you're just you see the end.
I do,
and that's good. That's a good feeling, right? I mean, yeah. Considering,
well, because I took so much time off, so I'm not going to get to that teacher 80% retirement thing unless I work till I'm 70 something, which I'm not going to do.
No thanks.
So I have to make it till I'm 55.
You can say no, thank you.
And I won't say when that will be. But yeah, I won't go much after that. I don't think.
And so, what do you envision when you are done teaching? What? You can have a lot of time.
Don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. So I'm not going to leave until I have a plan.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I've left without a plan before. I don't recommend.
I've heard that. I've seen that.
No,
I haven't. No, I haven't.
Well, that's the funny thing about fails. So I recently switched schools from the preschool to fails, and I never went into the year thinking, get me out of here. I just, wanted to check out fails, casually said, oh, do you have any openings? And she did. And my brain works. I don't know if I said this. My brain just every few years just needs something new.
You get a little 7-year itch like that?
in 3 years. Yeah, something like that, I guess. Plus it's literally 2 minutes away.
Yeah.
And I like it. And it was hard. I mean, I love the staff at WEC. It was a great place to work. And it was hard. I don't want to say it was a hard decision, but that was the biggest part of that would keep me there.
Yeah.
It's a great place to work. Challenging. So speaking of, let's talk about the day Dave McGrath walked into WEC.
Okay.
What was I mean, I was other than the custodian, the only male in the program.
Yep.
Who had zero experience
with the
walking.
Littles.
Yes. Yeah. What was that like? I mean, were you like, oh my God, it's a guy, it's going to be different? Like, was there any?
Well, no. Well, honestly, the New England Center was half and half.
Oh, okay.
Half man.
Good. So
yeah. So, typically preschool doesn't have a lot of men, but I've worked with plenty of men. So I wasn't. I don't know.
It wasn't that much of a shock.
And then my role isn't exactly preschool; it's more like special ed.
Right,
so it didn't felt right. Felt normal.
Oh,
felt like I wasn't feeling weird that you were there. But but our boss was like, "Hey, there's a guy. That's a different perspective. It's going to be great." And I'm like, "Okay."
Who at every review would say, "You play too much with the kids. Focus on their academics more." I'd be like, "Okay."
No, play. Oops, sorry. Play is very important in preschool.
It is. But what would say, obviously I had not that I had no idea what was going on, but what in your memory, what was the one thing that you're like, oh, he doesn't, I need to help him in this area? I I know in my mind, a lot of it was the language, like how you, the language, like,
I mean,
simple words.
You weren't the first person to come in as a paraprofessional without experience.
Right.
So I guess I'm not thinking like, oh, wow, this guy.
Yeah. So you had had previous knowledge to be
because
ready
the
for that.
paraprofessionals, when they come in, even if they have been paras in older grades,
it's
a whole new world to come to preschool,
and there's a big
so
turnover,
different.
so it's
there's a huge turnover, and a lot of the paras who come in on once in a while, like me, right? Like I had teaching experience, and then I just did it to see if I wanted to go back to work at all.
Right.
But for the most part, there's a few of the paras that you worked with that I've worked with that maybe have a business degree or, come from all different kinds of jobs in the past. So I don't know. I wasn't thinking like, oh gosh,
oh my God,
this guy needed so much help. I just thought, oh, here we go again. I got to train someone else.
Right. I guess everyone comes with their strengths and weaknesses, no matter what.
Exactly. As long as you come into preschool willing to have fun,
right,
which you sure did, to learn.
Yeah.
Because there is a whole different language and a whole different way to do things in preschool. And then able to learn how to deal with the whole range of kids we get.
Right.
Which it's hard.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. At the same time, toilet training. At the same time, throwing out napkins for snack time and washing hands. And then, there's a whole, so many things to do. But as long as you're flexible and positive, then you'll do great in preschool, right?
I mean, if you're not flexible, generally speaking, in education, let alone special ed, like good luck. Right. How did you like being a para? You said was it just 1 year?
It was 1 year.
Yeah.
I think I would have liked it better, and I might have just stayed being a para. But the teacher, who was the preschool teacher at the time, wound up leaving. So then I kind of slid into her job.
Oh, okay. Where Deana, your work ethic is very inspirational. Like, you made me want to be the best para I could be. Who are the people that can you contribute that to? Did that come from somewhere, someone, a teacher, education mentor, or you're just awesome by yourself?
Man. Is that these are
like, what drives you? Like, what
drives me?
Yeah,
I think it's just because they're so young, and this is the time where they have to learn.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just always thinking about the kids, and I'm always thinking about what's next,
best for
and
them,
how to get them to the next level.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just in you.
I guess.
It's just to do.
I guess.
Do you believe in past lives?
No.
I
haven't thought about it really, but no, not really.
When you were early in your teaching career, was there a teacher that, well, you said the high school teacher that inspired you to work first, but anyone else like that come to mind?
Not really, no.
College professor, no?
No, not really. But I will say the New England Center, I just learned so much there. That's, if you want to be a special ed teacher, work there. You'll learn so much there.
And they pay for your college. Is that still?
They do. I mean, is
that still going on?
I don't know what it's like now.
Oh,
I think Simmons is still there.
Okay.
I think that program still exists. I mean, you don't get paid great,
right?
But you can get your education while you're working,
right?
Which
so
is
that's
great.
kind of like an increase in salary.
Yep.
Have you been there recently? Have you visited?
I've driven by it.
Yeah.
When I was leaving there, someone was like, "You'll be back," but I haven't. I have not been back.
No. What was teaching through COVID like for you?
It was hard.
Yeah, right?
It was really, really, it was really, really hard.
Yeah. What was the hard, we were basically just all right, come up with new everything.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, with a mask on, trying to,
I was fortunate to be fully in person. I didn't have to do online. Hybrid. We tried that for a week or two. And then, so luckily I was in person. So I didn't have to do that juggle that a lot of teachers had to do,
Yeah,
where they
God.
had to do some like some
Right. Half a
remote,
day,
some
hybrid,
in
yeah,
person,
yeah.
and kids are at home while kids are in person, and you had to have stuff for both kids. Like I was fortunate that my kids were all in person, so that part was better for me. But what was really hard is what is developmentally appropriate for preschool is to play together, and instead they're all at their little tables with their own little box of materials, and they couldn't share and couldn't, if one touched something, we had to wipe it down before we gave it to someone else, and it was just.
I remember preparing for that year, taking all the materials and each kid had their own kit, and I was like, "This is like the socialism of like."
I went out and
COVID
bought some
education.
extra.
Like
they had our boss went out and bought us some baby dolls that didn't have cloth on them, but we didn't have enough for everyone. So I actually went and bought a few extras, and I'm like, so every kid had their own baby doll, and
sad.
Yeah, that was the hardest part for me. Is just like.
How that
trying
changed.
to teach
the play changed.
against the way I know is best for kids, but at least they're there. At least they're getting
there
something.
In person, you can show them with your hands how to.
Yeah.
That was a tough year.
It was hard, and the mask.
That was, and we were told we couldn't sing. I don't know if you remember that part, which is like.
We were told a lot of things that we may or may not have done.
And I wouldn't say COVID hit the preschool hard. It definitely hit the preschool. But did you ever get it?
I finally got it on Memorial Day.
Oh, okay. So you got it early. I got it in like a month ago.
Did you really?
Yes. I was out for a week. I don't know if you noticed that right before I ended. Yeah.
I'm in my own little bubble this year. No. Maybe I thought you just left early for fails. I don't know.
Well, it's funny because I was out with COVID, and then they offered me the fails job, and I was still out, so I wasn't.
Oh no, I did know that.
Anyone. Yeah, I didn't tell anyone. I didn't know. Also, I didn't know when I was going to be switching, and I was doing EDP, so I figured, well, at least they'll keep me at WEC until my days at EDP are over. No, that didn't happen. So like I was doing EDP, then driving to fails.
I do remember that because then when you recovered, you came back for one day. And then
that was it. Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't going to argue with them about the days, but it was weird. So we were talking about COVID. But that's the thing with teachers is we're just like, well, this is how it's going to be, and we're going to get through it.
Yep.
And I mean, and that's the attitude that I experienced in preschool is like, no matter what's happening, we will get through it. We're going to work together. And luckily it fails. I've noticed the same, whatever happens in the day, if two paras are out, if whatever, we'll get through it somehow. Right.
Yep.
What has been through your years of teaching, would you say the COVID was the most challenging experience, or would you say a certain student? Would you what comes to mind when you think of, oh God, that can't, we're talking about getting through years, but there's like COVID. The COVID year was really
the COVID year was probably the worst year. Yeah, for sure.
Because the other thing about the COVID year is that when it hit in March of 2020, it was just boom remote. So we were just like, all right, this is how you're doing it, and that was.
Yes.
I mean,
we actually got in trouble, you and me. Remember?
We did?
Yes, because the school closed, and then the next day was like my birthday.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. And I had to bring you your
We met
Oreo,
in the parking lot of
Oreo
school.
and covered brownies.
And we were outside. And you were handing me brownies like this.
Yes. And
we got
social distancing. Social distancing.
Yeah.
But neither of us had COVID. We didn't spread it, so.
Nope. But we got caught.
I remember going to that COVID year being like, well, I'm just going to get COVID. Like, it's going to happen, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I never got it until this. It's weird. It's a weird disease. Because, I mean, at the beginning, it was very, deadly. And
before the vaccine.
Yeah, before that.
Yeah.
And, I know what I was talking about. Like, trying to teach preschool remotely, those like March through June.
Yes.
I mean, that was I don't
want
to say it was a joke, but like
that was interesting.
You're right, but we got through. We got through it. We did what we had to do.
Yep.
And
Yep. But at least we already had relationships with the kids.
right. So yeah, it didn't happen in October.
Right. Yeah. So at least, they wanted to see us.
Yeah.
So they were eager to.
Yeah.
I feel like if it was in the beginning of the school year, they'd be like, who is this person on my computer? And
Mark, were your girls in high school when that happened? Or were they Yeah. How did they? You must have loved having them home. Yeah.
it was fine. He's not going to
Were they working? Like,
I mean, I think for them, they were probably glad they were juniors.
Yeah.
Because the senior class
didn't get the prom or the graduate. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
doing the graduation
Yeah.
and everything. But I mean, it was still going on for their
Right.
senior year.
Right.
But at least they had time to sort of plan out
Right.
how to still do some
Yeah.
things.
We did. I remember that in like April and May of that year, we did like a bunch of drive-by outside things.
We
at the
did. We had little
preschool.
parades and, yep.
That was also weird, seeing the kids, but like just driving by, like there you are, bye.
Well, my kids were doing drive-bys for like birthday parties.
Yeah, they would do
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and my cousin did
Just
a
big
drive-by
train of
birthday.
cars
Yeah,
would come by and like honk their horns and like, yeah.
It's better than
yeah,
nothing.
it's better than
but-
nothing. I mean, that was like, well,
Yeah.
we do stand-up comedy, and there were online shows that were just like that. You can't
Yeah, it
do it
just
that
doesn't
way.
work.
You cannot do it that way.
No.
You cannot. Have you been out? Like, have you been out and about doing things, like going to places? Like, I feel like more people are doing that now, and it feels good.
So John and I,
Yeah.
like, as soon as we were allowed to, we went to
Yeah.
restaurants. Like, we, as much as we could,
Yeah.
we got back to normal.
It probably helped having a husband as a doctor through a pandemic, or was that bad?
Yeah,
Like,
I think I think it did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you probably had a better handle
He's
on
not
what was
an
actually going
alarmist.
on.
He's
right.
very,
He's
very
smart.
chill.
He's smart as
He's-
hell. I
Yeah,
mean.
he is. Yeah, and he's chill, and he's,
Yeah.
yeah. So he always had a good perspective
Yeah.
on it, and yeah.
I remember the one day it was like the wagon pull thing he brought to the preschool. So I think I was in my car eating lunch,
Oh.
and I see this random guy, like just sitting out there with like that. And he's like right next to my car, and I don't know if I just rolled up my window guard, and he's like, "Are you Dave?" And I was like, "I am."
Are you that guy that works in preschool? What was he bringing? I don't even know.
It was like a big wagon puller thing that I think he brought so you could put out maybe the dirt for the garden on or something.
Ooh.
Like, does that ring a bell?
That could be.
It was a wheeled thing that
could be.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Because Megan and I did the garden grant,
Yes.
and then
How
John and I put the wagon together, and then
how involved is writing a grant? Is it?
well, for
hard?
this grant, it wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't. It was the Westboro Education Foundation.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't too detailed. They tell you exactly how to fill it out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
cool.
It was great.
I'm sure
They were
you
good
do
to us.
something
We
like
have a
that,
beautiful
they could-
garden now.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Or you do, I should say.
We
Damn
do.
it.
We do.
I'll have to come by and say hello.
Oh, we'll have to actually clean that up soon because it's before the winter.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's one thing it fails. I don't miss like doing those little like gotta clean up the playground, gotta like which I mean
Yeah.
that's just because our program's so small and doesn't
Yeah.
have the staff, and that's actually the one thing I kind of like about working in a bigger program is I feel more invisible. Not like everyone. Everyone's right there at the preschool.
Everyone
That's good and
knows.
bad, right?
It is
I mean,
good
like
and
everything.
bad.
There's pros and cons to both. We have Halloween coming up. Are you wearing a costume?
I haven't decided
Oh.
what yet, but I know what it won't be.
Oh, Princess Leia.
It won't be Princess Leia.
Dina was Princess Leia one year.
I was. I got to
I could
mix
see
it up.
that.
You had, but you didn't do your hair. You had earmuffs
Yes.
that worked
Yes, I had
perfectly.
earmuffs. Yes. Yes.
And our
but
awesome
no, I haven't
coworker
decided.
Megan.
Yeah.
She was
Oh, I
awesome.
miss her.
Yeah, she was the best. Like she was so good.
Yeah.
That was an interesting interesting Halloween.
That was good times.
Fails is, I'm not going to say what I am dressing up for Halloween, but fails are the fails hedgehogs. So
Yes.
there might be something there.
You actually let it slip, so I do know.
Oh, I told you?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
When was that?
I don't know.
Oh.
It must
Must have
been
been.
on your
Oh, must have
last
been when
day.
we were out at what's that restaurant?
Tavolino's?
Yeah, it must have been then.
Yes. What was that for?
That
that
was
to say
say
goodbye
goodbye
to
to
you?
me.
Oh yeah.
What was that for?
What was that for?
Come on.
So that's it. To say goodbye to you. I'm like,
There was
wait,
nobody
but
important.
listen, there was her
Yeah,
baby.
right,
I'm like, was
nothing.
that to say hi to her baby? No, that was to say bye to you. That was nice of her to bring the baby.
Yeah, yes. The baby was the star of the show. What's his
Yes.
name again? Is it
Ben?
No.
No. Alden?
I'm bad with names.
Sorry, Liz.
But-
I think it's Alden though.
Adorable baby.
Charles?
Liz
Alden
is,
Charles?
Liz is adorable too. She's awesome.
Oh my God, she's adorable. Yeah, she's great.
She
She's
is.
great. We have the best staff.
Deana, it is a great group
Yeah.
of people.
It is.
I've worked at a lot of programs, and I'm telling you, WEC. No offense to any other even fails that I work at, but WEC, it's almost astounding. Like it's a great group of workers, no
I
matter
agree.
what. And we've talked about I don't want to mention names,
Oh,
but they're
boy.
not everyone's the same, but they like everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, and it all somehow works,
Yes.
right?
Yes. There's a variety
Are
of
you
personalities.
speaking of, are you doing I had to sign up for a 10-hour PD. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're doing the same. Are you guys doing the same
whole
thing?
district?
It's
Yes.
a district-wide thing. See,
Yes.
I don't pay attention to details like that. I just
It's
know
the
what
whole
I have to do.
district team.
Which
Yeah.
one are you doing?
So I'm doing a 30-hour one
Wow.
because the way teachers' salaries work,
Yeah,
right?
the hours
there's a
depend
scale,
on,
and
you're getting close.
you can get a little raise every time.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get to the top of that scale
Oh, good.
before I
Oh,
retire.
that's smart. You're smart and you plan
Yes.
things, Deana.
Yes. So I'm actually taking 2 online classes right now.
Oh, wow.
And then I'll take that 30-hour class, and then
that'll
I'll
put
be
you
done,
over?
and I'll be at the top. So,
That's awesome. What are the two other ones?
one's about teacher wellness,
Okay.
and
Like
one,
your wellness? Okay.
yes, my
That's so
wellness.
important though.
yeah. 1 week was about sleep habits. 1 week was about
Eating.
exercise.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Then this week was about eating, I think.
All stress reduction. I'm
That
sure.
kind
Yeah,
of stuff. Yeah. I had to write myself a little morning routine to follow.
yeah. It's tough. But
It's
that's
tough.
what they say. Like if you do something X number of days in a row, then that's
becomes
just your
a habit,
and
yeah.
then that's just what you do.
Yeah.
I had to do that when the pandemic hit. I was like, all right, especially that summer. I was like, all right, I got these days. And I gave myself a schedule and said, all right, in the morning you wake up, you get coffee, you read, you do a Spanish lesson on Duolingo.
Oh, that's a good one.
You have lunch, you exercise, you play guitar, you write, and then if all those are done at the end of the night, you can do your reward video game. It was like doing my
Yeah.
own reward system.
I
Right?
actually
Do
made
video
myself a
games.
picture schedule. I did.
You see?
Yep.
So what did
Just
you?
like
What
where-
were the activities? So this is that summer. You did the
Yep.
same. So what was your schedule?
It was wake up,
Yeah.
have tea, read an affirmation or come up with my own,
Yeah.
exercise, gardening, reading, which I don't enjoy, make myself read,
Yeah. Okay.
and then maybe do another exercise.
Yeah.
And then that was it. Then I let myself off the
So
hook.
when you retire,
Mm-hmm.
that can be very similar, but then you can find I don't want to call it a hobby, but a activity
Yes.
that you're
and I think
a
I'll
passion.
I
or
might like reading again. Like I used to like reading, but
Yeah.
now I feel like my job's so academic that
you
reading's
don't-
not
reading
enjoyable
is-
right now.
Right.
So maybe I'll like it again.
Do you read fiction, nonfiction,
I read
whatever?
Anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. When my kids were little, Harry Potter was the big thing.
See, I like to watch my fiction.
Mm-hmm.
So like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, I'll watch. I'll
Yeah.
read. If I read, it's a memoir or it's a autobiography. I mean, same kind of thing. Usually.
I like to read and then watch.
Okay, yeah. I recently watched then and am now reading this movie called The Greatest Beer Run Ever. It's about this guy who it was Vietnam War time. He lived in Manhattan, and he he was at this bar, and the bartender's played by Bill Murray in the movie, who's this war vet. And they're talking about, like, 10 kids in that neighborhood went to Vietnam and got killed. So they're talking about, well, what can we do? Like, and there were anti-war protests, and, like, soldiers were getting treated like shit when they got back, right? And they're like, what? And the bartender's like, I know what we can do. We can bring them an American beer and tell them we support them. Let's do that. And this one guy was like, he was a merchant marine worker, so he actually had the credentials. He's like, well, if I find a ship that's going to Vietnam, I can do that. And he did it. Like, and so, like, I'm reading the book again. The book is so much better because it's detailed and, like, yeah, I love stories of someone just gets a crazy idea. And I don't know if this might shock you, Deana, but someone gets a crazy idea in their head and they just go do it.
But that might be my next chapter, writing a book.
Oh, okay.
When I retire.
Okay.
But I haven't
like
decided
special.
Yet. I don't know
special
yet.
ed memoir type of thing, or
possibly.
Okay.
Possibly. I got other things to write. Other things that have happened.
Yeah,
that I could write about.
That's good. I mean, writing's very cathartic, and
yes, even if I don't put it out there.
Yeah, well, that's
right.
true. Well, you kind of are anyway. It's out there for you, for your mind, for you, and then whether you share it with or maybe share it with your family,
yes.
as far as you want it to spread out.
Right.
This, of course, going on YouTube is going to spread all over the world.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to
go
viral.
Break the internet.
This is riveting.
Speaking of special ed, sense
yes.
of humor.
Yes.
Like, if you do not have your sense of humor in education, in special ed, why? What do you?
Right.
How do you get through your day? Like, you have to.
So yesterday, my co-teacher had to be out. My paraprofessional had to be out. My other paraprofessional is out for an extended time. Yeah. So it was me.
Yeah.
And it was two subs who were great.
Right.
I have to say.
But
they were very strong. Yeah. But these 3 and 4-year-olds, they're strangers to them.
Right.
So there were a couple that were like scared of
them.
Of course. Right? So, hey, we made it through. We had a great time.
Yeah.
And we laughed through it, and we just had fun. And I just said to the subs who were in there, and I was like, if you don't love this job, what is wrong with you? Like, we're just having a good time. We're just having fun. So,
And that's you have to have that attitude in preschool. Like, we're having fun. We'll learn. Like, and that's what I was, have fun and learn along the way.
Yes.
I'm teaching at jail now.
You're back at it.
Yeah. This time I'm doing writing though, not math. And Quincy was like, you can teach writing, just whatever. No guidelines, just teach writing. So, like, I'm doing the 3 genres that I'm strongest in, which are poetry, memoir, and screenwriting. And I told the students, I was like, look, we're here to have fun. Your grades, participation, and we're just gonna. And they're like awesome. They're like participating, sharing their writing.
Nice.
Yeah, and so I hate to say it, but in some ways, it's more rewarding than working in preschool. I got like everything. There's good and bad things that go with it, but yeah, it's cool.
I think the one downside to teaching preschool is you have an impact on them for sure that will last forever, but they probably won't remember you.
This is true.
So your students will remember you.
It fails. Like, there are students that fails that know me from preschool. And anytime we're lining up, we're in the afternoon. We're lining up to go out. Like, the parent pickup kids are lining up. The EDP kids are lining up.
Yeah.
I go out with my kid to get in one of the parent pickup line. And one of our former preschool students is in the doorway of her classroom, which is way down the end of the hall. And she goes, which teacher was it? It was Miss, like I have urgent, like, news. Miss, whatever. She's like, what? She's like, Mr. McGrath's out in the hallway. Like, that was the biggest news break of the day. Like,
You're
she
a
had
celebrity,
to tell everybody. And I saw that teacher later. I was like, yeah, sorry to be out in the hallway and alarm like that. Or sorry, the next day, I should say. Yeah, they're funny.
Yes, they are.
But I mean, like, there are 2 guys. There's the gym teacher's a male that fails, and
he's great.
Yeah, he's great.
No,
great with kids.
The 2
great
months
with
that I got to
intent.
go there with you.
Yeah, great with the
COVID.
kids, great with the intense, great, just
Yep.
a great person.
Yep.
Like he's just, yeah.
And I judge great on how good they are at including everybody. And he was so good.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm learning from him.
I'm
as
so
at
bad at
Dale's.
names. I don't remember his name, but he was great.
Matt.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, so that actually, anytime I go to gym, that's the other difference now. Going to the specials, going to gym, going to music.
Yep.
But yeah, anytime I go to gym, I walk in there and it's like, oh, it's gonna be fine. Like I got backup. Like
It's fun. Yeah, and it's gonna be fun.
we have a student. I want to see how you feel about this.
Oh,
we
boy.
have a student. Maybe get some advice. We have a student who does not eat, does not sit. If she's not holding someone, an adult or close peer friend hand, she cries.
Oh,
So basically, she's always holding on to someone and always standing. Doesn't talk, doesn't nonverbal. If she doesn't want something, she'll just push it. Like, so at lunch, if I'm with her, I'll be like, "Oh, do you want this?" Just pushes it away. I don't like. It's weird because like other students with other needs, like, well, you're sitting now, so that's what we're gonna guide you to do. But like with her, we're not even. I maybe she's just not at that comfortability to even try it yet. But so like I kind of like. I don't hold her hand. Everyone holds her hand. I let her just hold on to like my shirt or something like that. But I don't know. I don't know what. Not that I want to, try to teach her anything, but like I guess just try to have her be more comfortable. I don't.
right.
I guess we don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's one of those strange things. Like doesn't eat.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah. Right.
Well, hopefully she'll like it.
And I was telling my parents this the other day. The other kids are so good with her. It's awesome to see that.
Yeah.
It's awesome to see that. Like
Yeah.
the other kids know, well, we're just gonna be friends with her no matter, even if she doesn't talk to us, and when the little successes, like the other day she went down the slide and smile, like to get a smile out of her is a big deal. And all the kids were so happy, and she, like you could see, oh well, she had a moment of fitting in and like being happy. So
That's
like
awesome.
I guess that's really what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
Just knowing, I guess no matter where the kid is, just knowing that they're cared about and supported and
Yeah.
celebrated when they do have good moments.
And that is the most important part of being a teacher.
Yeah.
Is building those relationships.
Right.
Because kids aren't going to learn if they're not
Right.
safe.
I guess
Don't
that's
feel
good.
comfortable.
One of the strengths I have is
For sure. For sure.
but they know me as the fun,
Yeah.
funny guy. But
Yeah.
like, I guess it works at that age, right?
Right.
I gotta do a YouTube channel. Like, what's that guy's name? Jack. Who's the guy?
Jack Hartman?
Yes, I gotta do that.
Sing and dance.
Could I do that? I don't know.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I guess I could.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I see some TikTok
Yeah.
videos.
Oh,
Dave dancing.
But like, yeah. Well, it was funny. One of the teachers the other day, there's this one guy who just puts on a bunch of costumes and helps kids count to 100.
Oh.
So each 10, every 10, 10s, 20s, 30s, he'll do a different like move or whatever. And we did Captain America one day, and then the teacher was like, "Oh, Mr. McGrath's gonna like this. We're gonna count to 100 with Darth Vader." And she put it up on the screen, and I was like, "That's Kylo Ren." But the effort was there. The effort was there.
She knew it was Star Wars.
And the kids didn't know the difference. So this one kid, he's a Star Wars fan. He has a couple T-shirts, and he noticed, he's, "Mr. McGrath, you wear a lot of Star Wars shirts." And I was like, it's actually every day. And so there was this one day I had my hoodie was like zipped up. And he's like, "Mr. McGrath, what, you're not wearing a Star Wars shirt?" And I was like, come on. I think I said something like, I was like, "Do you know what faith is? That's when you believe something without proof." And I was like,
every day.
Speaking of Star Wars, do you watch like, what are you watching? Have you been to the movies? Have you
I
streams, shows? Do you not have time for that?
Oh, there's always time.
Yes.
Right. I don't really enjoy going to the movies.
Okay. That's okay to say.
Because I don't really enjoy people. No, but for real, like
other people.
Other people.
People in public.
right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, yes. I enjoy watching things in the comfort of my own home.
Okay.
When other people aren't on their cell
And
phones.
you can pause and-
or
yeah.
other people aren't opening
Oh.
their candies.
Yeah,
or
okay.
talking.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
then I'm just focused on how annoyed I am and not enjoying the show.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
it's
Easier to focus.
It's better for me if I'm
Yes.
just home
Yeah.
watching.
And what are you watching? Shows, movies?
Shows. Yeah.
What
we
are you?
haven't been
Is
watching
there
a
current
whole lot.
one you're?
We just watched Kevin Can F Himself.
Okay. I think I've heard good things
It was
about
okay.
that. Funny
It was okay.
comedy, right?
It was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was funny. What else did we watch? So we're watching Ghosts. It's a comedy.
Oh, the one in the mansion and the husband
Yes.
can't see. Yeah, my
Yes.
parents watched that.
So, but first we watched the England
Yeah,
version,
yeah.
and now
Now
we're
you're
watching the
watching
US
American.
version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one? Any preference or?
I mean, they're both funny.
Do you both like?
They're
yeah,
both
like
funny.
both.
Yes.
Yeah, they are. I've seen a couple episodes.
Yes.
They're good.
Yes.
They're good. Not watching Andor.
No. No.
Star Wars, like, it's so funny. They've said, there's going to be this movie, this show, like, for the next 5 years, and we're just in Star Wars. Whether we love it or not, we're just happy that they're
Yeah,
feeding
are
us.
you?
Oh my God.
I know, but see, I would think that
You
there are
get
some
sick of
people
it?
just want like the first 3 movies and then everything else forget. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, some people are, purists like that. I mean,
I'll say that's me.
yeah. Yeah. Well,
No,
that's
really.
why, I mean, you grew up
Right.
watching those. And,
Right. Yeah.
And they're making a new Indiana Jones. Did
Are
you
they?
watch those as a kid?
I
when
did.
you were-
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That movie, the first Raiders of the Lost Ark, like, I remember going to that. My brother had already seen it, so he's like, Dave, at this part, you might want to look away. Dave,
scary.
at this
Yeah.
part, you might want to look away. Because I was like, that came out in 81, so I was like 7.
Yeah.
Like, going to see
There's
this
some
is a
scary parts.
movie. Yeah.
Yep.
That actually, Temple of Doom was the movie that PG-13 came out of. Cause
Oh, really?
yeah, because it was rated PG when in the theatric. I'm such a movie dork. When it was released in the theater, it was PG, but then by the time and there was controversy. It was like, wow, this is PG. The guy rips his heart out. Like, is that a PG? And so there was a little controversy of that. And then by the time it was released on VHS, it was PG-13. They had invented a new rating because of.
Look at that. I learned
Which,
something.
hey, you didn't think that was going to happen, did you?
I thought it was about me, but
I'm asking you about your favorite movies and shows.
What favorite PG-13?
Yeah. What would you? Obviously, Star Wars is top for me. What if you say 3 movies you had to choose?
oh man. I don't know.
Or what movie? Is there a movie you can quote like Star Wars like me? Is there a movie that's your
No.
No. That's good. Do you
Yeah.
see? That's
I
why
mean-
you have more room in your brain to plan stuff.
Maybe.
'Cause-
Maybe. I mean, our house is big on The Godfather.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. I've only seen that once, I think. The original. Well, it's like 3 hours long, isn't it?
Oh my god.
Sopranos, did you watch that?
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
was really good too.
Wow.
And then Breaking Bad.
How'd you like the end of Sopranos?
I
Is it bad? No, didn't a lot of people hate how it ended?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
Breaking Bad, you watched the whole...
Watched the whole thing,
Yeah.
and then we watched Better Call Saul.
Okay, yeah, that's a
watched
spin-off,
that. That was
right?
really good.
That was also Breaking Bad. I think I had friends who were into it, and I maybe watched 2 episodes.
Oh.
I liked it, but never got into it. So that's something. That's the other thing is like, there's so many platforms with so many shows
There
and
are.
movies.
It's not
like,
just
what do
Star
you-
Wars. There's more.
Right, there's Marvel.
There's more. Right.
And Disney. No, I have Disney Plus, Netflix. I have Disney Plus, Netflix, and ESPN is all one thing that I pay. I think
Yep.
$9 a month, and
Yep.
I get my money's worth out of that. That's what we're talking about. This, like, there's some joke like I don't pay over $100 for cable anymore. I'm not an idiot. I pay $200 for 15 streamings. Like that's the way to go.
True,
Like,
right? It's true. But when my kids were little, Modern Family was the big show.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we can quote a lot of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's when you would watch you'd sit down and watch. See, that doesn't happen anymore either. You'd sit down. I remember when I was a senior in college, Thursday night was Friends and Seinfeld, and we sat. It was an event. You know, it was more.
It was.
Or like, you know, when I was young, Wizard of Oz was on once a year. And if you missed it, tough shit. Like,
right?
You got to wait 365 days.
It's
but
so
it was so
funny.
special.
It was.
It was. We're doing it, and I think it would always happen. I want to say February vacation. It always seemed like it was vacation, so we could stay up.
But talk about scary.
Yeah.
That movie, scary
For a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, not anymore.
Yeah.
But yes, when I was a kid. Now I
It's
know
a
what
great
happens,
movie,
so I know
though.
what to
I
expect.
mean, it's the classic.
It is. It's very good.
Orphan going on an adventure, finding getting the
Sounds
magic,
familiar.
getting the magic object,
What?
finding her way home. It's the same old story.
It's the same old story.
Harry Potter,
Yep.
Star Wars.
Yep.
It's Lord of the Rings.
We've talked about this before.
Yeah. But there's a reason why those stories work, right? Because it's
Right.
someone that against all odds, and that's what.
So when I write my book, this is the
that's what
formula.
we want to see in special ed too, right? We want to see someone against all odds. That not that they're going to become Dorothy or Luke Skywalker, but they're going to.
Maybe they will.
Right. Maybe they will, but they're going to go on that journey and get, move along, develop.
Right.
Yeah. Which makes a great movie. Like if you have a movie and the character doesn't develop, like, good luck, right? Well, Mrs. Solomonides, our hour is just about up.
Wow,
Is
that flew.
Didn't it?
It did.
It did. Is there anything you want to add? Anything you want to ask me? Anything?
Why'd you leave us? No, kidding. I'm kidding.
This is a fair question. I think I answered it already, didn't I?
Well, not
Are people wondering that? Is there?
only maybe one or two of us.
It wasn't an easy decision, but
Well, that's what you said. That wasn't an answer. You
Um,
can tell me when the camera turns.
Okay. I mean, I think I gave you some reasons, but yeah. Well, but part of it too is I don't I'm a para, right? So I'm not in this because that's my. If I really wanted, I would be a teacher. Like I could go do that, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
You could.
Well, I could, but I want to be a screenwriter. I want to be a writer, and this is a good thing where I think I'm good at it, but it's also not consuming me when I get. I'm not thinking about.
You're not
you're
not consumed with it like I.
Well,
you're not sending out
I'm
emails at
but I
4 in
don't
the
have
morning.
right. I'm not worried. Am I going to be the only? Are my two paras and co-teacher going to be out?
Is it just me? Am I all alone?
Well, that goes back to your work ethic, which
Yeah.
is unbelievable and inspirational. And
Thanks.
I think we should end on that.
All right.
That's
Thanks.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Have a good day, everyone.